Hello everyone, I am your inspection mentor. Today I am going to talk about API 510 standard and a little bit about the Certified Pressure Vessel Inspector. Let's begin. What is API 510 standard? Well, it's a standard set by American Petroleum Institute, that is referred as API, and the standard outlines the requirement for the pressure vessel inspection, repair, alteration, and re-rating. Our definition of repair, alteration, and re-rating might be different than the API 510 standards definition, but we may talk about that in detail later on. So today I'm going to discuss several things. First one is who should study API 510 standard. Then I'll talk about individual certification program, that is also referred as ICP, and which is the program for a certification of pressure vessel inspector. To become a certified pressure vessel inspector, you need to learn some of the documents outlined by API, and for that one, first thing we will talk about is the API 510 Publication Effectivity Sheet. After that, I'll talk about the API 510 body of knowledge, and in the last we will talk about the exam structure. So, who should study API 510 standard? Well, several group of people should study the standard, and the first group of people is petroleum and petrochemical industry owners or operators. Why should they study? Improve the management control of process unit operations, repair, maintenance, and reduce potential for failures. The second group of people is the inspectors. And why inspectors should study? Basically, to do their jobs in accordance with the latest and most accurate industry inspection practices. Sorry. Third group of people is engineers, welding engineers, quality control engineers, examiners, entity personnel, safety, and some other guys. And why they need to understand? They can improve their understanding on the requirement of maintaining the integrity of the pressure vessel and how to evaluate damage or degradation of pressure vessel. And the next group of people is jurisdiction, government, and legal authorities. I don't think I need to discuss more in detail about why these guys needs to study the API 510 standard. Everyone knows that if any dispute happens, these are the guys who gets involved. But if they study the standard, they can make better decisions for people and ensure compliance to the regulations. Now, I'll talk about the individual certification program. So, API's individual certification program have provided the petroleum and petrochemical industries with an independent and unbiased way to evaluate the knowledge and experience of technical and inspection personnel. What are the benefits of getting certified by API or have the ICP or to become a ICP inspector? So, employer perspective, if the inspector has the ICP certification, it means they are getting the knowledgeable and specialized inspectors. thing is, with this certification program, API sets the minimum standard of knowledge and skill for the personnel who are involved in inspection activities or other activities in the refinery or petrochemical industry. The next benefit is providing a higher management control of inspection practices. Just imagine you have a very skilled inspector working in the refinery for 10 years and suddenly he left. How difficult is it to get the other inspector to gain all the knowledge and give similar performance? Being API certified inspector, the management know that he has a certain level of skills which will help them to start the job, and he might need to learn something from his engagement when he is on the job, but he will have some basic knowledge about what is going on in the pressure vessel industry. Oh, sorry, not pressure vessel industry. I'm not talking about the manufacturing, but the operations industry. Then it increases employers' confidence and peace of mind, similar to the previous one. And because of all these above, it helps maintaining safety and high level of performance. In the last, if you have knowledgeable people, there is less safety related incidences, then it will reduce the potential for downtime because of the equipment failure. To become a certified inspector, what you need? First thing you need is an experience. What kind of experience? Well, if you are doing a job at a fabricator's place, or if you are just doing the NDT, they don't consider as experience because you need to have experience defined by API 510 standard. We'll talk about it very, very soon. Second thing is a written exam. Without exam, we don't know, like API cannot determine whether you have sufficient knowledge or not. So that's the second requirement. Now, where can you get the information of what kind of experience is required and what is the criteria for written examination? Well, I'm going to talk about this in detail in the following slides, but I will recommend to always go to the API's website and check the latest information available on the website, because that will be the most accurate information available for the period when you are trying to be certified. So let's talk about the experience. So there is a first group of people who have bachelor's degree in engineering or technology. So what's the minimum experience required for these group of people? Well, 1 year's experience. It is not fair, like if someone gets lots of experience in the field but he doesn't have a bachelor's degree. Anyway, this is what it is, we can't do anything about it. Second group of people, 2-year degree certificate in engineering and technology. So they might not be holding an engineering degree. If they have 2-year certification program similar to the engineering and technology and 2 years of experience, then they are eligible to apply for the individual certification program. Third group of people is high school diploma or equivalent. And these group of people need 3 years of experience. And the last group of people is no qualification, but they are doing some sort of supervision. Sorry. They need 5 years experience. Now, all these 1 year experience, 2 years experience, 3 years, and 5 years are not any experience you gain in any industry. If you are an accountant or if you are IT professional, your experience will not be counted as experience. So what kind of experience do you need? Let's talk about the experience in detail. So these experiences are categorized as I discussed earlier. So we will break up them as a category. So I'll talk about the category A. So who needs 1 year of experience? If you see in this table, there is additional column for military services. So if someone had a technical role in military services and 1 year experience, alright, then he is eligible to apply for API certification. Now what type of experience they should have? So if you see the last column, supervision of inspection activity as per API 510 standard, or performance of inspection activity as per API 510 standard. So whatever inspection activities mentioned in the standard, like calculating the life of the pressure vessels, doing the visual inspections, all related to the pressure vessels within the refinery or petrochemical plant, that will be considered as experience. Second group of people, category B, 2 year degree certificate in engineering or technology. For military services, 2 years of services, and they got 2 years of experience. Apart from these things, if they have the experience of design, fabrication, repair, inspection, or operation of pressure vessels, so these 2 years of experience, when we talk, these 2 years involve these kind of experience like design, fabrication, repair, and inspection. And within this 2 years, they should have 1 year of category A experience. This experience I am talking about. So they should have 2 years experience. Within that 2 year period, they should have these kind of experience specified by API 510 standard. Category C experience. So in this one, they don't consider the military role, but in this category, we required 3 years of experience. This experience can be design, fabrication, repair, inspection, operations, whatever. But 1 year of the experience should be the activity specified by API 510. The last one is no formal qualification. So someone is in the industry for 5 years and he has the experience, fabricator, like engineer, or engineers are not fall in this category, but without any qualification, if person is doing working in the fabrication, repair, and inspection, and he has the category 1 experience, then he is eligible to apply for individual certification program. So this experience is listed in API 510 standard in appendix. But I would recommend go to the API website and check for the latest information, because the info, basically this experience, they don't really change from several years, like not from several decades, same, but I will always recommend to go to the API website for the latest information. Now, how to get certified by API? First thing you need to have is apply on ICP portal. If you have correct degree, and with respect to that degree, if you have the right experience and you think that you are eligible to apply for the program, you should go to the ICP portal, and this is the current address of the ICP portal. You can go there, and what you need to do on that. So they have a different kind of certification, like as I mentioned here. Just give me a minute. Yeah. API 510, API 570, API 653, and there are more. So what you need to do, first you need to select the type of examination you want to get certified for. So in this case, you have to do API 510. Then after that, you need to create a personal profile, update your education history, and then update your employment history. Please be mindful that whatever employment history in the website, they will verify. They will go to your employer, they will reach by either email or the phone call, and they will verify. Basically, they are more interested on the duration and the type of experience. So guys, they are going to verify. So whatever your experience you mention on the website, that should be your actual experience. After verification, what is going to happen? Well, everyone knows. You have to pay the fees. And after paying fees, what you can do, you can start preparing for the exam. So now, let's talk about the preparation for the exam. Where do you start the preparation? Well, I have mentioned several times about the API website, but first place you should start preparation is go to the website. Why to go to the website? Just to get the latest information required for the next examination. What you can find on this website, you can find the API 510 Publication Effectivity Sheet. You can find the latest body of knowledge, or maybe POK. Okay, so let's talk about the Publications Effectivity Sheet. In my opinion, for candidate who is going to appear for the API 510 certification exam, this is the most important document. Why? Because this sheet gives the standards or codes from which the questions will be asked, and its edition to refer. So, as I mentioned earlier, the questions on the exam are derived from the publication listed in this document. For API 510, for the 2023 and 2024 exams, you need to refer API 510's 11th edition, 571 3rd edition, 572 4th edition, 576 4th edition, API 577 3rd edition, API 578 3rd edition, and for ASME codes, we need to refer 2021 edition. So Section 5, Section 8 Division 1 and Section 9. Apart from these codes, there is one more ASME code, that is ASME PCC2, and its edition is 2023. So to pass the API 510 certification exam, there are total 10 books needs to be referred. And where can you get the list of this book and information? Well, the best place is API ICP website. Let me show you how the Publications Effectivity Sheet looks. So this is how it looks. It says API 510 Exam Publications Effectivity Sheet. That's for September 2023, January 2024, and May 2024. So this is the code API 510 exam, and this is the edition. So in the red fonts, whatever the change from the previous effectivity sheet are highlighted in red fonts. Same way, all the standards, they are mentioned here. This is the ASME. And in this ASME PCC2, it's 2022. Okay. You may be wondering what is this, what is the photograph of a mobile phone on the right hand side of the screen? Well, there is an app called API 510 Helpmate. Okay, and it has, I think I will talk about this app at the end of this presentation. And if you are interested, you can be there or you can skip it. Yeah, let's go to the. Now I will talk about the body of knowledge, BOK. So what BOK has, it has a list of specific topics included in the API 510 exam. So what kind of body of knowledge a candidate should have, or what he should be studying? So the body of knowledge, there are, I think, 4 parts. In the first one, it talks about the thickness measurement, inspection intervals, and vessel integrity. Then in the part 2 is the welding procedure, welder's qualification based on the ASME section 9. Part 3 is non-destructive examination. Then practical knowledge, general, and practical knowledge in specific to the API 510 standard. Let's talk more about the standard now. I hope you can see the body of knowledge PDF document. So this looks like this. All right, and always check which BOK you are referring. Okay, so this one is for the September 2023, January 2024, and May 2024. All right, so how this document looks. So it's a very, very long document, all right, 10 pages. I'm not going to go in very, very detail. Okay, but I'll show a glimpse of this document. So it says reference publications. So these are the publications of API These are the publications of ASME. We already discussed about it. Then the thickness measurements and inspection interval, we discuss about that. But in these category, what the candidate should learn, because if you refer the standard, all right, like these API standards are maybe probably a little bit smaller, but the ASME standard, they are very, very big standards. It goes up to 1,000 pages. It's impossible for anyone to study those standards. But with this one, you can know that what is required, right? Say for example in corrosion rates and inspection intervals. So to calculate that, what you need to learn: metal loss, corrosion rate, remaining corrosion allowance, remaining service life, inspection intervals. Then you need to learn about the joint efficiency. So for that one, you need to refer ASME section 8 division 1. Then the static head, you need to aware about the pressure with internal pressure. So there will be some calculations, but not every calculation, right? If you see, they will talk about these clauses here, UG 27 C1. So these are basically the minimum thing you need to study about it, right? If you see the external pressure, what it says, the inspector should be knowledgeable of the rules for design of shells and tube under external pressure. That is referred in UG 28. The inspector will not be required to perform external pressure calculation. So you should be aware about the rules. They might ask some question, but definitely they're not going to ask about the calculation. But in this case, they will be asking the question about the calculations, right? Then pressure testing, very important. Impact testing, equally important. Weld size for the attachments, welds opening. Alright, so I'm not going to discuss more in that, but for the ASME, the candidate will not be expected to know the purpose for the certification exam. So these are the things, if you don't know, that's fine. For the examination, they don't want you to know about this. Then they will talk about the welding procedure specification, procedure qualification record, welder performance qualification, section 8 division 1, section 5. So general requirements, radiographic examination, liquid penetrant examination, MEC particle examination, ultrasonic. Alright, 4. Section 8 division 1. So inspector should be familiar and understand the rules of NDE, so which are referred in UG and UW sections. And the practical knowledge. So what kind of practical knowledge inspector should have? Which is listed here. Basically all the items which can be inspected, right? The welding on the pressure vessel, non-restrictive examination, estimated remaining life. This is the very, very important section, practical knowledge specific. So this will give you the idea of what to refer and what not to refer in API standard. So if you see the 510, all API 510 is applicable to the exam unless specifically excluded. So everything mentioned in the API 510, a candidate should aware about it. They have given an example here that section 9 and appendix E are excluded. So I would still recommend to study about it, but I think it's not going to come in the exam. But it's very similar to the other sections of the API 510 standard. Then in API 571 damage mechanism, there are plenty of damage mechanisms, right? But what you need to study is these list of damage mechanisms, not each and every one. 572, entire document is subject to testing. Well, it's the inspection practices. So basically, you will know, if you have the experience, you will know a general thing about the pressure vessel inspections. 576, API 576, it's a inspection of pressure relieving devices. This is very important standard to study because most of the time pressure vessel inspector do not have the knowledge of inspecting the pressure relieving devices. There may be exception, but most of the time we don't go in that detail what the standards specify. So I will always recommend to and this document is the entire document is subjected to testing except for the annexes. So I will always recommend to study the standard in detail. Then 577, it's about the welding process, inspection and metallurgy. Entire document is subject to testing, but most of you have some knowledge about it. That is what I'm guessing. If you don't have, start preparing it. Then guideline for a material verification program, MVP. This is also a very important document, or I would say a very important standard. An entire standard is subject to testing. This ASME PCC2, what happened in the earlier edition of the API 510 standard, they have lots of information about the rectification and repair of the pressure vessels. But what they did nowadays, they removed lots of I would say pressure vessel repair methods from the standard, and they give the reference to this ASME PCC2. So while studying the API 510 standard, you have to go to this standard, and on this standard, this is basically, it includes lots of information. It applies to the pressure vessels, pipings and everything. So what you need to do is this list of topics you need to study. Alright, so I would recommend everyone, if you want to prepare for the API 510 certification body of knowledge, you should spend at least a day to prepare and plan your study program, how you're going to study and what is required. And the most important thing is the currency of this document. Okay, let's go back. Now you are all prepared and full with the knowledge. It's time to show your knowledge. So what is the exam? How the exam looks like? Well, it has two types of questions. One category is called closed book exam. In this exam, the questions are asked that is from the back of your memory, like to test your knowledge basically, without any additional document to refer. This is very, very important, because if you don't remember the crux of API 510 exam, API 510 standard, it's very hard to answer the questions. And in the exam, 110 questions will be there, and 2.75 hours time will be given to answer the exam. The second category is, of course, open book exam. So you will have the 60 questions, and in the open book exam, what happens is when you go to the exam, the first session is for the closed book exam. So you will have the 110 questions, and the open book exam sections will be locked. So you can't go to that. So once you finish the closed book exam, there will be a break, about 45 minutes. And then when you do the open book exam, you are able to refer all the standards which I referred earlier. But these questions will not be a very, very straightforward questions, okay? Because some of them will not easy to remember, and some of the questions you need to do the calculations as well. There are not very, very difficult calculations, but yes, a candidate should be aware how to do the calculation. So the total duration, so total scored exam is 140 and total duration is 7.5 hours. Now, you think that the closed book is 110 questions, open book is 60 questions, so the total should be 170 questions. But why it says 140 questions here? Well, the remaining questions are pre-test questions. So what happens, with the remaining questions, API use for their internal purposes, like they check how the candidates perform on these questions and whether these questions are good for the future exams or no. But we really don't know what API do with the data, but the candidate will be tested, all the candidates will be tested on 140 questions. But it is mandatory to answer all 170 questions, because you never know which one are the scored questions and which one are not. Okay, now we are at the end of this session. As I promised earlier, let's talk about the app which I referred earlier. First of all, I'm not an affiliate with this app, so don't ask me more questions about this app. But this app, why I like this app the most? Well, there are few reasons. The first one is it covers all the sections which are required for the examination. As you can see, API 510, then ASME Section 8 Division 1, those are there. The second one is the quality of the questions, especially for API 510. It covers the questions from all of the sections. As per my information, I might be wrong, but I could find the questions from almost every section of the API 510 code or standard, whatever you want to refer. Anyway, and there is the another feature, that's the full exam feature of this app. So it allows a candidate to practice all of the exams, like real-time exam questions. Not from the you should not refer this exam as a just quick learning. But what I was referring was that in the full exam practice section, if you can try or practice the full exam, and after the exam you can see the results as well, and from that result you can see where you need to improve or what you want to do. Anyway, any app for the examination are not the ultimate solution. Alright, the ultimate solution is to refer and study the standards listed in the publication in the publication effectivity sheet and be okay. And we need to have the knowledge of those standards. So you can find many like questions or many PDF floating on the internet. You can refer to anything, but the main thing is to study the actual standard, and that will help you to achieve the success or pass the exam. This app is a great tool, but it may not be the ultimate tool. Anyway, thank you very much for joining today. I'll see you next time. And please share and subscribe the channel if you would like to do so. Thank you very much. Bye.